Hello again, Stroke. Welcome back to another evening of streaming. Today I've decided to do a little bit of Chaosbane. So if anyone wants to ask any questions regarding classes, builds, etc. for the game, feel free to do so. Um, if you want to join me, if you need some help power leveling or just helping you farm on a difficulty that maybe you're having difficulty pushing, troubles pushing, so don't be afraid to ask. I don't mind teaming up as long as you're on Steam. Unfortunately, I cannot team up with people who are playing on Origin on PC. Or if you're playing on console, of course there's no crossplay unfortunately between PC and console either. So I can only team up with Steam players. I will start off with a little bit of bragging. So let me just quickly spend some of those points. I'm just gonna do something like this. Going a lot into the damage reduction, as you can see here. So the numbers I've got here, 440, definitely a new player would not have this, but I can tell you 150, 200 you can reach pretty quickly legend ranks. And if you're consistent, if you keep grinding, I think within a few weeks, if you keep grinding every day, you might reach 440, even surpass it, no problem. I'm gonna do a little bit of relic maps. Crit chance for all players reduced. Not a big fan of this map, so I'd rather reroll it if I've got the gold for it. Swanesh. Hero's armor reduces over time. This is an annoying modifier, but if you do it quickly, it's okay. And Messiah is auto-hosting me again. And the third letter. I'm shocked you still play this, dude. Well, third letter, what we have is some news about the game getting a new mode. New endgame mode. And I'm assuming it's gonna be survival mode, which is exactly what I've been asking for. I'm not sure whether that's the case, but the developers asked us to guess. And I'm gonna quickly show you an image. So the image is this one, and it says, first of all, we're working on something called the Tower of Chaos. And they're saying that they will follow up with a separate post detailing what we can expect, but we can feel free to make some guesses of our own until then. So my guess is this is a survival mode, kind of like Crucible in Grim Dawn. I'm sincerely hoping this is what that mode would be. So this has been posted like a couple of weeks ago. So can't wait for the changes they've mentioned. This can be seen on Steam in the game news on Steam. Wait, what build am I running now? Oh yeah, the heroic was Bastion. So challenge set is that, if I remember. And can't wait for the game to get some more endgame. It's feeling a little bit more balanced, but definitely still miles away from what it should be in regards to balance, in regards to build variety, in regards to itemization as well. My stream is freezing. Alright, I think there's something happening with my internet the past few days. I'm not sure whether it's my machine or what, but I've been seeing frames getting dropped due to bitrate. Basically my upload has been getting shitty the past week or so. And I'm not sure whether it's my computer or whether it's something else. It's unfortunate to hear that. But even on my software it's telling me that the bitrate at one point is 6000 bitrate, and then it's going down to 1000 and then to 2000 and then to 6000, which is something unusual. Normally my upload is not like that. It's pretty consistent normally. I'm not sure what exactly is happening and I don't know how to fix it. I mean, I've tried restarting my machine, it just doesn't seem to get fixed. No, it's not gonna matter if it's 900p. because it goes down to 1000 bitrate from 6000. And it's not a matter of whether my internet can handle it, it's a matter of my internet being inconsistent right now. So even if I go to 900 or 720p, it's still gonna go down to something that's gonna result in dropped frames. I'm not sure how to fix it. Maybe I can, I don't know, I could try streaming in 900p, and I can try maybe streaming in 30 frames per second instead of what I normally do. But the problem is my internet upload is 40 megabit. I have 80 megabit download, 40 megabit upload, and I'm uploading only with 6 megabit. The stream doesn't use more than 6, and you see it's kind of inconsistent, and I don't know how to fix it. I'm wondering if I should check something, maybe some malware got installed on my computer and it's eating up my upload. I don't know. I have a good antivirus that's supposed to be maintaining what needs to be maintained, but who knows. I'm gonna look into it tomorrow. I forgot to look into it today, and when I started streaming I saw it still hasn't been fixed, and I'm gonna have to look into it. It's possible that something is eating up my upload, but I'm suspecting it's just something with my internet provider, with my ISP. Maybe due to the coronavirus, they're understaffed and something has gone wrong, and they don't even know to fix it. Not sure if I should call them, but if things keep going on like this, I might as well call them to see if they can fix it. But it was Easter. Even if I called my ISP, there probably won't be anyone that could do anything until like tomorrow. Maybe even the day after tomorrow. Because it was Easter today in my country. And happy Easter to anyone who is from Eastern Europe and is celebrating at the same time my country is. But it's annoying. I mean, even my software. Wait, I think I need to. My sound is fucked up. I need to restart my voice meter. This is another thing I'm not a big fan of. My voice meter gets fucked up, and I need to restart it. Okay, my voice meter is restarted. Yes, I do recommend Slayer as the starting class. Slayer or Engineer, the two dwarfs or the mage. That's the three classes I would recommend as a starting endgame farming class. Unfortunately, you cannot farm items for one class on another, so you're still gonna have to kind of stick with what you pick for a while, or just switch classes if you don't like it and start over. The only thing you can farm on one class that is useful for the other classes is the blessings, which is not a small amount. If you're new, you would definitely need some stockpiles of blessings for armor upgrades and weapon upgrades and whatever, just in general gear upgrades. And the other thing that's shared is gold. So gold and blessings, and each class has its own token, but that's the things you could farm on one hero for another. Slayer is the one that can definitely be a lot of damage dealing going on for it. Like, I think the highest hits, the highest crits you can achieve on a Slayer. When it comes to the survivability, it's not as good, but it's still a decent class. And for the Slayer, regardless which set you pick, I would suggest not going for the last song. I would suggest if you pick a Slayer at the end, going for Ever Peak, Ritual Crests, etc. Grimnir. So Grimnir, Karas Akarak, or Undefeated. Those are the three sets I would suggest playing. The Avenger set is not that bad, but I think it's the weakest out of them all right now. Because right now damage over time bleeding builds are not that strong. Right, let me do some invasion as well. My favorite class for campaign so far has been the two dwarfs. The two dwarfs have been very fun, and this guy, the Slayer, can speed through the campaign. All you need to speed through the campaign is this god skill, Ancestor's Gift. This god skill, which you can get pretty quickly. You need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. So once you get this god skill and you get this avenging charge, basically you can use avenging charge and then you can run with this charging skill. So Ancestor's Gift, and then keep using avenging charge without energy cost for a few seconds. And you can stack cooldown reduction. And you can speed through the maps with this. And you can use the basic avenging charge at level 5. And I'm not sure what level we started getting god skills at, but it wasn't that late in the game, so you would be able to get this and this combo pretty quickly. Of course, Wasp Bastion always a recommended skill because it also gives you energy. Right now I'm playing Slayer. Slayer can have good AoE and it can have good single target. I mean, it does good AoE damage, which is also good for single target. So it's super strong, and you can now see rank 46 invasion on this guy. Of course, this is a WoW difficulty, high rank invasion. So basically you can see what's happening here. Rank 46 but Chaos 2. And the wood quality is 7376. This by itself is a ton of wood quality. And I spend the most time playing this class invasion wise. I'm just gonna do a few invasions just to show you how it goes. Basically with invasions, that's the place to farm items. If you wanna farm items, you push the invasions to at least rank 19, maybe 28 if you can, and then start farming something that scales 3, 4, something that you can speed through super fast, and it's gonna give you a lot of good wood. And because the wood quality goes up by each rank, not just by the difficulty but also by the rank. You can see now getting a green item. And when it comes, thank you for the follow also Hoglek, thank you very much, welcome to the Struck Club. When it comes to farming experience and the equivalent to Paragon levels, if you've played Diablo, what we call here legend levels, legend ranks, when it comes to that, it's better of course to do Chaos 8, 9, maybe even 10, but I'd suggest 8 and 9. Chaos 8, Chaos 9, Relic Hunts. So Relic Hunts would not be that great later on when you unlock invasions in comparison to those for wood quality, but if you're just starting, Relic Hunts probably would be your go-to place to farm items until you push your invasions to higher ranks. And pushing invasions, I strongly suggest you start from rank 10. Clear rank 10 and then I have an advice that I like telling new players. I'm gonna show you in the town what I mean and what I'm talking about when it comes to the invasions. So you start from rank 10 and you clear rank 10. So once you clear all 100 places of rank 10, you can move on to ranks all the way from 10 to 19. Let me just quickly change the ranks to rank 10. So there we go. So this is rank 10. So once you clear rank 10, at one point you would clear the... Oh shit, I didn't want to start this. So there's nodes that can give you rings once you complete them. I didn't want to click it. And there's something specific that is very important to know when you're pushing invasions. You don't want to lose rewards, and if you don't know this, you might end up losing rewards. So once you complete this one, you would have access to this one. And if you complete it on rank 10, that means this is also getting completed on rank 9 and all the way through rank 1. So all 10 ranks from 1 to 10 would have this completed once you do it on rank 10, and then you would be able to collect rings. It's very important not to collect the ring on rank 10. So basically what you want to do is go to rank 1, collect the ring. Then go to rank 2, collect the ring. Go to rank 3, collect the ring, and so on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and finishing with 10. And this applies for this ring as well, and this node, and this ring and this node. So basically you complete this and then you do that thing I mentioned. Complete this, do that thing for that ring. So those 3 rings, that's the only 3 items that you can loot from invasions as a reward. And if you collect it on rank 10, basically you won't be able to go back to rank 9, 8, 7 and so on. So you're losing 9 rings if you collect it at rank 10. Once you complete rank 10 to 100%, you're unlocking ranks 11 through 19. And basically you do the exact same thing with rank 19. Once you complete rank 19 to 100%, you unlock the next 9 levels, which would put you up to rank 28. So always push the highest rank available for you. If you stick to the highest rank possible, then that's gonna be fine. Alright, let's change my build. Not build, but just changing my gear and set. I'm gonna play with this set for a bit. It's a little bit more spammy cooldown wise with this set. Kind of the same exact skills, the same exact god skills that I'm using. And by the way, with Bragi, I've got a build called Crit Monster. There's slight changes to it, and it's very flexible depending whether you want more cooldown reduction or whether you want more crit damage, counterattack damage, which gives you crit damage with this skill. So with this skill, I've got 778 crit hit damage, which comes from my counterattack damage, which you can see right now is 31,103. It's a great passive, and it's the bread and butter of crit builds on Bragi, this skill called Fighting Spirit. And if you use this axe Grudge Holder, you keep getting a rage, and each rage point gives you 500 counterattack damage. So you can see with 0 rage, 778. With 5 rage, this goes to 938. And you can get 20 points of rage when you're when you're in combat and stacking some skills and stuff. So pretty neat. Pretty amazing. And right now Bragi is super strong because you can get so much counterattack damage from items. Before you could get roughly around 30,000 from items, but now you can get probably 45,000 from items. And that by itself is a huge number. And then on top of that you add the 20 times 500 extra counterattack damage from the Grudge Holder axe, and it's just a what? It's a what? And with this guy, once you buff yourself up and stack all the damage buffs and the crit damage buffs and everything, you can reach with green gear over 100 mil, maybe 150 mil damage on some sets, which is a big number. I mean, even 50 million is a good number of damage, let alone 100 million. So this guy is probably the best for a newbie to learn, because it doesn't require that much to play it. For Slayer, I can tell you what to look. I've got a YouTube video of what I'm playing, slightly reworked. I could send you screenshots of what I've got, or maybe you can screenshot it. I can give you some time to take screenshots if you want. Basically, look at this, and I'm gonna also give you a link to my YouTube video. It's slightly outdated, but not by much. I think probably 80-90% of the stuff is still valid. There's very few changes I did after the new update. So this is the link to the video, to the crit monster video. This was made back in December, the 19th of December, which was shortly after the previous big update got released, the Tomb King's update. And after that, there have been a few changes that were done to the game with the next big update, which was the Forges. But mostly it's about this passive skill. This is the passive skill that was added to the build. So I've removed some stuff and I've added padded armor, but the skills I've used here are the same. The god skills I've used are kind of the same, and mind you, I've included in the links different screenshots of different ways how to build. So it depends on how much cooldown reduction you need. If your items give you enough cooldown reduction, you're not gonna go all the way here for this cooldown reduction, taking this cooldown reduction and this cooldown reduction on the way. You could probably only take maybe this one and maybe this here for 8 points. It depends. There's also some cooldown reduction you can get, where was it? Somewhere here, I think. 3% here, and on the way for those 3% you're taking 30% crit damage. But you can see, if you don't need that much cooldown reduction, I strongly suggest going for that one. And after this one, another thing that's gonna boost your damage is this one too. I think this 10% flat damage probably would end up being better than the 20% counterattack damage. Right now, you can see I've got 146% counterattack damage, I've got 26.7 damage, 130 crit damage, and 155, not 155, but 15% cooldown reduction. And this is where my crit damage comes from. This skill. In the items, I suggest when you're blessing the items, sticking to 3 items with counter attack damage. I think more than 3 items is a bit of an overkill, and you need flat damage more than counter attack damage. If you go all in on the counter attack damage, I've done the testing myself, and going for more counter attack damage and less flat damage ends up giving you less damage overall. Yeah, you do have more crit damage, but you have less flat damage on which the crit damage is based. So there's like a balance. 3-4 pieces of blessed items with counter attack, and the rest I would suggest going for damage and HP. And that's how I think it's best. I've done some testing and it seems like 3 or 4 is like the perfect middle ground between counter attack and flat damage. Or should I say between crit damage and flat damage, because counter attack damage gets converted to crit damage. Oh shit, should have used my invulnerability. Another good thing about Bragi is if you use it well, unlike me, which I've always said I'm not the best at using the builds I'm making. If you use it well, you could keep your invulnerability up all the time almost. Because with items like this one, you keep reducing the cooldown time. With items like this one, you keep reducing the cooldown time. And this is also valid for your god skills as well. So you would be reducing the cooldown of your main damage skill, you would be reducing the cooldown of this skill and of this skill. And if you don't like using call to out, which gets rid of some of the HP of yours, sacrifices some HP, you can go and use this god skill, Butt of the Mountain. You can take Butt of the Mountain Superior and put it here. It's not a bad idea. But the call to out kind of got changed, so right now call to out has buffs. This one gives you damage and movement speed. This one gives you damage and crit damage. So they kind of changed how it works. Before, the way this skill worked before is the skill used to do extra damage to stunned targets. Now it no longer has this effect. I think only the heroic version, and I'm not sure even the heroic version does it. Maybe it does though. I need to check. I need to switch my sets after this map. But before, the superior version of the skill used to have the same thing that the heroic one does, which was extra damage to stunned targets. And with the Ring of Resonance, this build is amazing. And Ring of Resonance can only be obtained from invasions, which is why I would suggest spending some time to get a Ring of Resonance, because it's great synergy. Unfortunately, there is no way to reroll items right now. Hopefully they would add a system that would let us reroll the stats on a certain item the same way we can do in Diablo 3. It would be great if they do. Bosses also have certain mechanics. Eventually you would learn the mechanics of the different bosses and what to watch out for. Like this guy has this one-shot AoE that I'm trying to pay attention to, and when he does it I'm trying to be out of the way. Like he's doing it right now. You let this touch you, you're dead. Most of the times it's gonna be one shot. Right, we've done that. And with this guy I think it's gonna let you jumpstart your farming super easy early in the game without that much investment in good items. So yeah, the link gives you this build with slight changes that have been made by me. In particular, mostly the padded armor. I don't think other than the padded armor there's much that changed. Oh, also the items. The items in the build, I was using axe called Forge Heart. I was using this axe because back then I didn't know how Grudge Holder works. I'm suggesting instead of Forge Heart because Forge Heart used to be buggy. With Forge Heart I used to be able to kill myself by accident. Yes, it does shit tons of damage. It does twice the damage, maybe even more than twice the damage of a heroic call to out. I'm gonna check it in the town. Let me go to the town and show you the differences. So I'm gonna quickly switch back to heroic call to out build. So you can see heroic call to out 365,000. This one is almost 2 times this damage, and it procs often. But the thing is, on a map where you're burning and bleeding at the same time, this damage seems to somehow get applied to you, which is most of the times you're one-shotting yourself, because the more rage and the more damage you get, the more this damage increases as well. And at one point you're not gonna be able to survive this damage. So avoid using the Forge Heart until this is fixed, but the thing is I haven't tested since the Forges update whether this has been fixed, so maybe it's gonna be a good time to put it to a test. Let's put it to a test. Let's start using the Forge Heart for a bit. What I would need is Act 2 map, because on Act 2 there could be bleeding and there can also be burning at the same time. It's very rare cases. I'm just gonna roll for a lesser relic map so I can get bleeding. When heroes stop fighting, they lose health every time. I need heroes constantly bleed. This is what I need. I hope I can get it before I run out of gold, just so I can show you. And even then, I need to get a boss that uses burning fields on the ground. So the difference is, it's better to use a grudge holder than a forge heart, and it's better to use this skill than something else that is in the build. I'm not sure exactly what I got rid of. I probably got rid of I think I got rid of this thing here, Eternal Grudge. I think that's the skill I decided to get rid of. Eternal Grudge Superior. That's probably what I got rid of to get padded armor. And I think it's worth it as a change. And as I said, Code to Outmastered, you can always replace it with Blood of the Mountain Superior. Definitely is good because it gives you extra damage for a few seconds. And gives you health regeneration, which for invasion maps is amazing. This skill on invasion maps, this health regeneration is a lot. So let me try and get that map to spawn with the bleeding. I just don't have much gold, so I'm trying to just do a lesser map for that. I wish I could build the map myself, so it would have been a bit easier. But this is getting reworked. Relic hunts are getting reworked. So this, with the next big update, supposedly this mode is getting reworked. Okay, pools of blood regularly appear on the ground. Maybe we can give it a go and see if I can force myself to kill my character with the forge heart. Basically what needs to happen is my character needs to be bleeding and burning at the same time to trigger this. Whether I'm gonna be able to do it, time will tell. You're gonna see that my damage is not gonna be that much. My damage is not gonna be as much because I'm losing a lot of crit chance by not using the grudge holder. So I'm hoping for a boss that does burning. If we get a boss that does burning, it would be much easier to test this this mechanic to see if it got fixed. It was a bug. I think it should not have been like that, but back in December I stopped using that axe particularly for this bug. And thankfully, as a result of me stopping to use the forge heart, I started testing other axes, and the grudge holder definitely ended up being an amazing axe. It's a bit tricky because what it says is on the grudge holder it says counterattack damage is increased based on rage level. But when your rage level goes up, this number doesn't change. And what I thought is I would always be getting 500, but what it is, this is 500 per rage point. And since you can have 20 rage points, that's 20 times 500, which is a lot of counterattack damage. Right now I've got 28,000. So think about 20 times 500. Is that 10,000? I think it's 10,000. So 10,000 is just what, 1/3 of my counterattack damage just added on top of it. Definitely something amazing. And mind you, I'm using legacy items. This gives me 702 counterattack damage. A new version of this item would be able to give me around 1000 something, 1200 counterattack damage. A new version of this again would be able to give me around 1200 counterattack damage. This one doesn't give counterattack damage as a base. This one doesn't give counterattack damage as a base, so I need to farm items with more counterattack damage. This one also doesn't give. This one also doesn't give me. This is a legacy and only gives 369, but a new one could give me around 800, a new ring. Not sure if I've got a new ring with counterattack damage to show you. See this one, this is a new ring, 892 counter attack damage. This is more than double what my old rings are giving me. So I think it's pretty safe to say you can get 45, maybe even 50,000 counter attack damage with the right setup, which would be so much crit damage that I can see 200 million crits even when fully min-maxed. With the right set, with the right items, with the grudge holder. Of course, I've got a long way to go until I farm every single of my old items with good stats and counterattack damage on them of the new numbers. But it's like 50-60% increase of the counterattack damage, I think, maybe more. I guess it's different for each item, but most of the time it seems that it's around 50%, plus minus 10. So, as I said, I'm hoping to find an enemy that does burning. And on this map it's only bosses, specific type of boss that can do the burning. So, until I find a boss like this, I'm not gonna be able to test if the Forge Heart can kill me. Can this boss do burning? Let's let it do some burning fields on the ground. See, that's a burning field on the ground. So if I start bleeding and burning at the same time, in theory I should be dying. If of course I don't have the invulnerability. So I'm gonna try and wait and see. So this is bleeding. This is burning. Alright, I think it might be fixed. It might be fixed. Alright, time for the grudge holder to go back in action. I think it's pretty safe to say they might have fixed the bug. I probably need to play a bit more on a map where I'm sure I'm constantly bleeding with the Forge Heart. So I'm gonna be on the lookout. As soon as I see a map where it says heroes constantly bleed, then I will try and use the Forge Heart and go inside one of those burning AoEs to see if I can trigger the one shot. Fortunately, we don't have any developers in the Discord. We only have community manager and a replacement community manager in case the other one is on a holiday or whatever. So when we're trying to get in contact and give some feedback, it all depends whether the community manager is relaying our feedback to the devs. So the most damage is set, by the way. If you want more damage, this is the set to go for. The undefeated set is the one for more damage if you want to go all in on the damage. The image keeps freezing. I think it's just me. It's my internet provider seems to have been having some issues recently, and I'm losing a lot of frames. Drop frames in brackets network. I'm not sure why this is happening. My bitrate didn't used to be like this, and the past few days something's happening. I'm wondering if it's something on my side on the PC, whether it's malware or whether just my ISP is having problems. I mean, I'm gonna try and maybe install a new antivirus, because maybe my old one is not detecting something, but I'm not seeing anything. I don't think it's malware. I think it's just my ISP having issues with the upload. I have 80 megabit download and 40 megabit upload, and my stream doesn't use more than 5.7 megabits. So I'm supposed to be using no more than roughly 6,000 kilobits, not kilobytes but kilobits per second. And I'm just seeing the number right now. The number is 5.9 thousand, 4.1 thousand, 6.5 thousand, 5.6 thousand, and then it goes to 3.7 thousand, 2.2 thousand. So this is something I think on the internet side or on the software side, and it's been happening for the past few days. I mean, I tried everything to fix it, restarting my PC and whatnot, and it just doesn't work. Not sure what's the problem. Maybe it's OBS, maybe it's my computer. I'm at a loss right now in regards to what this, and I apologize for this bad quality where it's stuttering the image. Even if I reduce the quality of the stream to be using less bitrate for lower resolution, it's still gonna be bad, because it's still gonna go sometimes to just something that would cause loss of frames. I can try and talk to my ISP tomorrow maybe, or maybe try using another streaming software to see if it would be different. Alright, let's try and get the bleeding map again and do a little bit more science. Can we get the bleeding map? Come on, bleeding map. Bleeding. I want heroes constantly bleed. This is the one I want, but as you see, I don't have much gold to keep rolling. I'm gonna give it a few times. When heroes stop fighting, they lose HP. No, I need heroes are constantly bleeding. Super rare to get it, so I might as well just do a whatever map. Again, pools of blood regularly appear on the ground. Probably not the best to do, but alright, let's just do it. I'm just gonna keep doing maps, and when I do see the one modifier I want, then I'm gonna change my axe. But yeah, Bragi and Kiwa and Elontir right now are my favorite classes damage wise. If you're a new player, if you want a class that can do damage and still get some okay survivability, those classes can offer a little bit of everything. Bragi is not as tanky as a mage, if you go for that setup, but definitely does more damage than a mage. The mage is the other way around. Can be a bit more tanky, of course, can be less tanky depending on how you build it. But in general, I think right now the melee mage is super strong. The melee mage used to be a little bit weaker before, but with the addition of padded armor, the melee mage is getting the damage reduction that it needed. They also added a little bit of damage reduction to another thing on the mage. I can't remember the name, but I can log on my mage later to show you instead of just talk about it. If someone wants to see specific quests in action, I've got them all, so don't be afraid to ask. If you want to team up, the same goes. If you want to team up, need some help, I can help with that. I can get you some items farmed in invasion runs. We can do some invasion runs together, or you can do some relic hunts with me and you can get some XP with those relic hunts. The relic hunts is where the XP is right now. You can't do Chaos 9, Chaos 10, Chaos 8 invasions. Invasions end at Chaos 6. Yes, you can get higher ranks of invasions and get more wood quality and farm better, but the XP remains the same. So yeah, if you want XP, I would suggest Chaos 8 or 9 speedruns. Even if it's not complete speedrun, right? Like right now I'm just chilling. I'm not even trying to be super fast. Of course I can do things much faster, because right now I don't need to be killing those enemies. I can go ahead, kill the boss and leave if I want. But I like killing elites. Most of the gear I found in the game has been from killing random elites and opening some of those big chests with the horns. Let's do a little bit of spin to win. Speaking of spin to win, this is the only class that has a spin to win skill, and I wanna show you how weak the spin to win is. I often get asked, what about the spin to win? Isn't it a good skill? And you can see for yourself and tell me what you think. I mean, you saw with the other skill I can do close to 100 million damage. Let's see with the spin to win. I'm doing one quarter, maybe 1/5 of the damage, maybe even less of what I normally do. And it's just much slower. Much slower. I mean, it's not bad, you can still do stuff with it, but when it comes to bosses, you're super slow. First of all, what needs to be done? I think there's two things that would fix this skill. First, make the skill benefit from movement speed bonuses. This means with that god skill you get 50% movement speed. You also heal yourself for 20% when you use it, and this is a very low cooldown. It's 8%, 8 second duration, 16-second cooldown. With enough cooldown reduction, this can be almost up all the time. So 50% movement speed. So make this skill benefit from movement speed, and making you move faster as the movement speed increases, because right now movement speed doesn't do anything for it. And then make it benefit with getting more damage based on how much movement speed you've got. Because this skill is probably okay up to Chaos 6, maybe even Chaos 7. But once you move to something higher, the damage just won't cut it. This 12-14 million damage can't compare with 60-70-80 million damage I can get with Strike of the Anvil. This boss is doing AoE, there we go. But it's not bad, I mean, you can see the lowest numbers I'm doing here when I do a proper hit, when I stack all the damage on the bosses, is like 30 million, 20 million. If I were to switch to the spin to win, I'm gonna die if I switch to the spin to win, but let's do it. Let's just show you how much damage the boss is taking. The boss is probably not taking a million even. Okay, 11 million is the best I could do. 7 million, 9 million. But yeah, much better when you play it with Strike of the Anvil. Another skill that would be much better now would be Laceration. What they introduced in the game is a Wife Leech mechanic. Wife Leech mechanic goes very well with the Laceration build. Basically what Laceration does is it takes your damage, so it takes 4% of your HP, and it pierces the enemies, has a chance to stun. Let me quickly just demonstrate it. So this is Laceration. They increase the AoE range, the AoE radius. Of course, it's still not a strong skill, but at least with enough health drain on items. And welcome back, Spawnless. Nice to see you. With enough health drain on items. Right now, this is my only health drain item. All of my other items are legacy, meaning I got them before the Forges update. This is my only new item since the new update, and it's only 112 health drain. And you can see how little HP I'm draining. Like I'm draining 3000. That's like less than a percent. That's actually 1% of my HP that I'm draining right now. And I'm using 4% of my. Oh, actually, I'm draining 300. Scratch that. I'm draining 300. So that's 0.1% of my HP. And every time I swing my weapon, I'm draining 4% of my HP down. So I'm leeching 0.1 and I'm losing 4%, but with enough health drain on weapons and rings and amulets, a Laceration build would be good. And this one, by the way, heals you. Killing an enemy with this skill grants HP. So if you kill enemies, trash mobs, 20% health restored. Again, this is not that good when it comes to the damage. I'm gonna demonstrate it with the next map. I'm gonna play a little bit of Laceration. But Laceration used to be my second favorite skill when it came to not playing a jumpy stompy build. It's just still pretty weak compared to Strike of the Anvil. But you can see it's okay. It's okay, but for the time it would take me to kill those enemies, I would have killed many more with another skill. So let's take a look at other skills. Let's take a look at Cleaver. Cleaver also has an option to actually heal you, by the way. I'm just gonna quickly demonstrate, because why not demonstrate the difference in the damage of the skills. So you see this one not even going past the 10 million mark. Let's stack up some rage, because it's better to have some rage when testing, so I can show you. I probably can get it to do 10, 11 million with 20 stacks of rage. See, 10 million, 10 million. Let's get more rage. 19, 17 million, okay. Still nowhere near what I can get. I can get close to 80, 90, even 100 million with the other skill. Now let's use Sight. Sight is a very fun skill. Bleeding enemies take more damage, or spinning axe that inflicts bleeding and has chance to whir enemies. I think it has a chance to pull them nearby. Let's show you. Again, going as far as like close to 20 million, not pushing past it much. So they did start rebalancing things, but it just wasn't enough. But look at that, it has a chance to pull enemies that are far away to get them close to me. And the energy spent per damage done ratio is just not worth it right now. And the time taken for a kill. What else is there? What else have I not demonstrated? Shred. Shred is okay. Shred can heal. Again, not that strong of a skill compared to the others. But it's good to show you, if anyone was wondering how it goes, to show you the difference. You can see it even has mid-range mechanic. And let's go back to the jump just to see how much quicker things are. Of course, I need to get it going. With one jump I can just eliminate big bunches of enemies. See, 60 something million, bam, 30 something million, bam. See, I'm bad at controlling it. See, 55 million. And it's not just the 55 million, because this explosion also does okay damage. So this is 905,000 on the skill. This is 3 million. So I'm doing 1/3 of the damage of this skill with my ring. And there's something that you need to know. The more the fight prolongs on one enemy, the more damage it starts taking. Also, the more bleeding enemies there are around an enemy, the more damage I do. So if there's a lot of enemies that are not dying from the first hit and start bleeding, because every time I do this skill, what happens is I'm triggering this stun. And this stun basically triggers this passive. Stunning an enemy also inflicts bleeding, and this passive triggers this. Bleeding enemies take more damage. Damage increases based on the number of nearby bleeding enemies. So I'm using my skill with cooldown, which is this one. The ring is stunning. The stunning makes the enemy start bleeding. And then this makes them take 20% more damage and up to 40% more damage if there's 10 bleeding enemies after that. You can see 77 million. So this is a nice synergy. And this ring is definitely super nice with such a build. Invasion rings are kind of mediocre, but the Ring of Resonance is just great. And it's a shame that there's not that many people playing the game, but this game in multiplayer is much more fun. It's meant to be played in multiplayer because the more people you have, the stronger the team gets, because everyone has some sort of a team buff. I can give my teammates 100% extra damage, and I can give them 50% extra HP with this skill. And different skills can give different buffs, and depending on what set I'm using, I'm gonna be buffing my teammates differently. The same goes for the other classes. Some sets would be more of a defensive set and provide the team with damage reduction, others would provide the team with damage. On one of my mage builds, I can provide the team with like 125 extra damage and like 40 damage reduction or so if they stand where I am. Like a bunker kind of playstyle. And stunning also works on those bosses, by the way. Of course, you can't stun walk after an enemy has been stunned. There needs to be some sort of time to pass before you can stun it again. So they have some sort of stun resistance or timer, but you can stun it and interrupt some sort of AoE one-shot attacks like this one. Like now, he was about to do an attack and I stunned it in the middle of the animation. Alright, let's get away from there. Oh shit, it got healed. It got healed by the damn healer. See, always kill the healers first. A rookie mistake is what I just did. I left the healer that I could two-shot. I left it stay alive and it kept healing the boss and... just rookie mistakes 101. Fuck. I don't know how I survived this, but somehow I ended up surviving the one shot. Also, I'm noticing something that shouldn't be there. I'm noticing I'm not using the burning avenging charge. And I think I know why. I think because I wanted to go for Code to Oath Mastered for that extra crit damage. But maybe it would be better if I were to take this approach, more movement speed instead of more crit damage. So I'm losing a little bit of DPS, but then I'm getting some DPS here with the burning. And on bosses like those it's nice. This fire may not seem like much, but it can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million sometimes when it crits. And it stacks. If you stack multiple of those lines on the same enemy underneath it, so as you can see, I'm just messing here. I'm not trying to be super fast or anything like that. I can definitely do the maps faster if I put my back into it. Yeah, I'm paying attention to the Chaosbane Discord, and it's been getting more and more active recently compared to the last few months. So that's why I decided yet again to stream a little bit of Chaosbane. So let me show you the mage next. Let me show you the mage. The melee mage. The melee mage is probably my favorite along with the bunker mage. So there's two sets I love playing on the mage the most. For high content, high difficulty content. Of course there is the super speed teleporty build, which is by far my favorite mage build, but it's not the greatest build for Chaos 8-9. But for easier difficulty invasions it definitely is. So let's go on Ewon tier. And I like doing Tomb Kings. I like the base of the Tomb Kings. So the teleporty build is this one. This is the teleporty build. You can teleport so much and it only costs a bit of energy and it's so mobile. With this build you can move around the map so much. But let's play the melee build first. And the melee build got a little bit stronger because this thing got damage reduction added to it. Basically, nearby enemies. By nearby enemies it means probably that close. Anything farther than this thing here. Not the blue circle. I think the blue circle, don't look at that blue circle. Look at this circle. So anything within this circle probably would be considered a nearby enemy. The big circle I think is a bad example, but this circle is also a bad example, but this circle, that's the circle I think what would be considered a nearby enemy. And with the melee build we're always kind of near the enemies which we're hitting. And this is probably the only build on which I would suggest using this ring, Oath Ring of Dexterity. This ring would give you 100% more damage for Phantom Blade Heroic. Phantom Blade Heroic you get from Blade of Azire. Otherwise you can use Phantom Blade Mastered, but Heroic is the real deal. And with that set it's a huge synergy. Make sure to be using this Heroic skill of course. And let's just demonstrate. This is the passives. If anyone wants the god skills, I've been reworking this build. It's not exactly as on my build video. I reworked it to have a ton of crit damage and to have a little bit less cooldown reduction and little bit less what's it cost, energy cost increase. Basically, the more energy cost I've got, the more I heal. But I think I've gotten rid of this passive. Did I? Yeah, I think I did. I got rid of this passive. So it's something that is not exactly as my build on YouTube. It's a new version of it. My build on YouTube went all the way to here, I think, for the cooldown reduction. And it stopped here for the Fortress of Willpower. I decided to go all the way to this Fortress of Willpower, and I replaced this superior Etheric Storm with this Mastered Etheric Storm, and I spent a little bit more points on crit damage because I could. So checking the difficulty, Chaos 9, this is where I like to farm XP. Also legendary ranks, let's put some bit more damage reduction. And I like doing it like that, 35% here. Now we're talking. Let's do a Grand Relic map. Corn, okay, perfect. So yeah, I'm gonna look into this this stream problem to see whether it's my ISP or whether some worm made its way to my machine. I'm thinking it's something to do with my ISP. I don't think it's anything to do with my machine getting infected by malware, but it could be. I mean, I gotta consider all possibilities. There's three things that could be happening. Either there's malware, or second option is my ISP is having problems, and the third option is just my PC is doing something that's resulting in me getting fluctuating upload speed. But the fact that it's fluctuating makes me think that it's probably just ISP problems. Otherwise it would have been constantly bad upload if it was like malware or a machine issue. So you can see this build is pretty fun to play as well. Definitely a fun build. And it became more durable. Before it was pretty difficult to get damage reduction for this build unless you sacrifice a lot of damage. And I had to stack some damage reduction rings before. Right now I'm not, I don't need to do that. Of course, I'm still taking a lot of damage, especially if I let myself get hit by exploding enemies. This enemy, when it explodes, you basically want to be out of the way if you're not playing a tank build, a bunker build. I did the worst thing possible and I stood in the explosion. But if you want damage reduction to be able to survive this explosion, this can be done. You need this ring, where is it? Ring of Denial, which reduces your damage but gives you 20% damage reduction. And then there's Dragon Ring. But they fucked up the Dragon Ring. Now you need to collect a Bloodlust Orb to get that damage reduction. Before it was permanent. Now it's only for 8 seconds and only after collecting a Bloodlust Orb. And what they need to do is they need to increase the pickup radius for those orbs when wearing item that requires you to pick up those orbs. There's two items on the ring side that requires you to pick up orbs. Ring of Cain's Fury gives you damage, and cooldown reduction. Dragon Ring gives you damage reduction. So what they need to add with the next big update, what my suggestion to developers is, give those two rings extra pickup radius of the orbs. So right now I need to be almost near the orb. But if they make it that each ring gives you like extra few meters pickup radius, so let's say the orb is there. You can see I need to be around here to pick it. Let's say the orb is here, over there. I should be able with one ring to pick it from this distance. With two rings from this distance. When the orb is there. I think that's how it should be. That way playing with those rings would make sense. Right now it's pretty annoying having to go and pick up orbs and just you're avoiding staying in your fields, which you're creating those static fields, and you're relying on yourself standing static to get the damage bonuses, and it just feels wrong. Not a big fan of this change, but it's fine. I mean, as long as they consider what I'm suggesting and make those rings increase the pickup radius on orbs for every class, not just for the mage, because every class got that same treatment on the damage and damage reduction rings. But if you need damage reduction, I'm saying you can sacrifice some damage and get it. There are options. If you want to be tanking those one-shot hits and soaking up the damage. Alright, let's kill this guy and then leave them up. So you can see I'm moving with my spacebar. When I hold spacebar, the last archetype spell. Basically, it's not archetype spell, but spells with this blue circle. This blue circle or this blue circle or this blue circle. Those spells you can control with this Winds of Magic manipulation. You can change the position of the last spell cast. So you cast a spell like this, and wherever your cursor is, when you're holding spacebar, it's trying to get there. It's moving in that direction. But the problem is it only works on the last spell cast, and I think they need to make it to work, to have an option to control every single spell like that at the same time, and to have a separate buttons combination that controls the last spell. So let's say with spacebar I control the last spell cast, but with shift and spacebar I'm probably controlling all of them. And to be able to control my number 4 and my number 1 at the same time, to keep moving with me would be great. There's other spells, as I said, such as this one. Let me just do it like that. And you can only control the last one, which is amazingly stupid. You should be able to control all 4 and just be able to, or 4 or 5, or how many more you can cast before you run out of energy. You can see this one, it's actually not a bad one, this, because it leaves a burning trail on the ground. And then there's the tornadoes. And there's the tornadoes. Where did they go? Tornadoes. Another spell that you can control. It's a little bit on the slow side, but you can still have multiple of them, but only control the last one. And that's why I think we need to be able to control more than one. Then there's those things. With those things you're controlling it where it rotates. And again, if you have, there's options to have 3 of those at the same time on the ground. It would be great if you can control all 3 of them to get rotated. This one gives you the access to 3 of them. Let me show you. So one, then I can move the second, and I can move the third. And it's not great that that you can only control the last one. Of course, you can create some very interesting traps like that and pull the enemies towards the trap, but it's just too much time, too much trouble. But the melee mage is great. Now, should we do the other mage? Which mage should we do? Let's do the teleporty one. The teleporty one, I don't suggest playing that one on Chaos 9. It's just not cut out for it, but let's do it. Let's do it. Ooh, not the best map, but okay. You're gonna see me dying a lot with this build because it's super squishy and the damage... Oh fuck. I'm missing something. Yeah. Super squishy and the damage is still not as good as one might want it to be. Wait, am I not using the right skill? Build? Wait, that's not the right build. That's not the teleporty one. What's happening? Why am I not using the... Oh yeah, wrong set. That's the set. So I'm actually using different weapons on it. Not sure why. But okay, I think... Oh yeah, because that's my farming set. I'm using... and you can see my HP is very low because I'm using crit chance, crit damage with this amulet, which gives me wood quality. So this is the set I use to farm invasions that are not that difficult. Something like, let's say, if I were to do Chaos 2, Chaos 3 invasions. This is where this build can shine very well. Speedrunning super quickly. Because I can just teleport and things would just die. Just by being near me. If I start walking instead of teleporting, you can see people just die from the fire and lightnings that are around me. And combine that with all the teleportation that you can kind of spam. You can even teleport in one place, and when you teleport you're leaving behind a damage field. AoE damage field, this sigil. Do you see that? And if you teleport in the same place, which on console is probably impossible to do because with console you're teleporting in the direction your character is facing. Whereas on PC you're teleporting where your cursor is. You can put your cursor in your feet and you can just keep putting sigils in the same place. And a boss, like an enemy that's like a champion or whatever, something with a lot of HP, you can teleport a few times in its feet and just leave and let it die from the AoEs. And you can kick it up a notch and just speedrun super fast if you want to. And if you find yourself in need of energy, which eventually you will if you spam it too much, you can just quickly melee a few enemies and you're gonna be fine. Of course this is super easy because it's Chaos 2. But my HP is still getting drained because it's rank 28. Rank 28, still not a joke. Look at my HP constantly getting drained. I'm getting 4% of my HP drained per second. That is excluding poison fields on the ground that also damage me every now and then. But yeah, you can kick it up a notch and just go all in on the teleports. Put your cursor at the edges of the screen so you can travel the most distance you can travel with each teleport. Or you can teleport hit. To to make sure after every teleport you're regenerating a little bit of energy, if things don't get killed by your auras, which, as I said, we've got 2 of. So this is perfect for speedrunning Chaos 4-5. I would say Chaos 4-5 are great for this build in invasions. When it comes to relic hunts, I would say Chaos 7 probably is good. Let's do Chaos 7 with this one. Let's do Greater Relic Map, Corn, and let's change it to Chaos. Actually, let's try Chaos 8. Or maybe let's do Chaos 9 just to see how bad it is at Chaos 9, and then try something easier just to see the difference. So let's keep it Chaos 9 just to show you how one would play this build on Chaos 9. It's gonna be a little bit more playing it a bit like a little bitch hit and run, but we have to do it with this build when it comes to the bosses. So you can see I'm just kind of spamming the teleports and letting the enemies go inside my damage fields. And when it came to this elite, it's a bit difficult because those are a bit beefy. So hit and run. Do a few hits and run, and see, even with hit and running, I'm still getting wrecked. But this is why I don't suggest this build for Chaos 9. 7, 8 probably would be fine, but I think Chaos 7 speedruns would be where this build would be most effective. Before I used to farm Chaos 6 or 5 when Chaos 8 was the limit. The old Chaos 8 is now Chaos 10, so Chaos 10 feels as difficult as Chaos 8 used to be before, and Chaos 9 feels like the old Chaos 7. You can see I'm hitting a few sigils and then I'm leaving. That's kind of how I do it. And while you're at the enemy's feet, you might as well pop this field. This field makes the enemy take 30% more damage. It also gives you cooldown reduction, which you really don't need that much for this build. So something like this. Okay, let's leave. Let's let it take damage from those sigils. Look at that, 2. What of 2 million hits. And on this map, on Act 2, it's amazing to be using this build, because there's open streets that are, there's not that many twists and turns. If you optimize it, you're gonna be able to do very well. Of course, on an easier difficulty where you're not taking that much damage. Not even sure what hit me. It was some sort of a range attack maybe? Because I didn't think there was an enemy next to me. Okay, let's kill this enemy quickly. Ah fuck, was it the wood pool that killed me? Or was it, oh, it might have been one of those fire fields on the ground. But yeah, as I said, I will be dying a lot if I do Chaos 9 with this build, so let's just finish the map quickly instead of playing with the little guys. See what I mean? You can kind of blast through the map in no time if you know which way to go. Of course, you still need to kill some enemies, but you can kill the boss and then worry about the little guys. There's so much fire AoEs, those fire AoEs, and they're just melting me. But this is completely farm build for lower difficulties. What I need to kill first is the little guys, I guess, before the boss, because they're making a ton of sigils that stuck with the sigils of the boss. See, the little ones I think are not from the boss, the big ones are from the boss. This is the guy that does the little sigils. This sigil. I'm gonna kill that one though. Alright, this one's killed. Now I just need to be extra careful. As I said, it's not gonna be an easy task completing the map with this guy. Basically, I need to make sure I'm surviving, and that's the hardest part. Hit and run is how I should be able to do it. See, hit and run, I bursted half of his HP with this one attempt. It's gonna wait for my potion. Alright, let's bail out. Don't die, please don't die, please don't die. Come on, potion, come on. Ah, fuck, I was so close. This might take forever if I try to do it, but let's keep doing what we're doing. Maybe it's gonna work. The biggest problem is those fire fields. Look at how many he's spamming. As I said, some bosses really need to be rebalanced in regards to giving them cooldowns on some of their abilities. Because right now he can do so many of those fire fields. And after that we're gonna do Chaos 8 just to see the difference. Maybe Chaos 7, let's do Chaos 7 because it's gonna be two difficulties down after this one. Ah fuck, and now another enemy got summoned. This is the one thing I didn't want to happen. To get this guy with the big sword spawning while I'm killing the boss. Because that's extra AoE fields on the ground that I need to keep dodging. Is this a Portals map? No, it's not a Portals map, so the boss summoned it, I guess. But it is a challenge, killing Chaos 9 enemy with this build. Someone might be much better at controlling the build than me, by the way. If you're good with your reflexes and managing your mana and HP and positioning yourself in the right places, you're gonna do it. See, it's not like it's impossible, but it's definitely not the easiest. Yeah, at least we got a green out of it, so it was not a waste of time doing so much. Okay, let's see what we've got, and then I can maybe move on to the engineer. And actually, I wanted to do Chaos 7 just to show you this build in action on Chaos 7, but first. Got more of those powders. Alright, I'm gonna check them later. Right now we wanna sell. And wait, why? What? That should have sold. Oh no, it's a red item, that's why I didn't get sold. Okay, so now I'm gonna quickly change to Chaos 7 with the same build. It would be nice if I get the same exact map, but that's probably not gonna happen. Exploding enemies, I'm gonna avoid this because it's wagging. They need to optimize this shit. Can I get Act 2? I want to get the same act so you can see the difference. Did I change to Chaos 7? Yeah, it's Chaos 7 now. Now you're gonna see me dying a bit less. Of course, if I'm not careful, I can still get one shot by the exact same enemies that could do it before, but they're dying much quicker. And now I just teleported inside the exploding enemy. Blame the player, don't blame the game. Blame the player. But you can see they're dying much quicker and it's kind of very speedy. Alright, let's keep going. And it's still good LQ. 4.6 thousand LQ on Chaos 7 Relicants. And of course this build you would probably be using it mostly on invasions. Chaos 3, 4, 5 invasions. You're just gonna need a little bit more health regeneration for invasions of Chaos 5, and definitely I don't suggest this for Chaos 6, because you're gonna be losing a lot of HP on Chaos 6 every second. So by now I could have already killed the final boss of the map and just proceeded instead of killing that many elites on the way, but I wanna get this chest. I always go to the chest spots, because those big horned chests have given me so many green items over the months I've played this game. Let's go this way. Look at how many elites. It's gonna be a shame if I don't stop and kill them when there are so many in the same place. Shit, what's happening? Right, they're dead. Oh, by the way, this build is also great for farming like this, farming fragments. Basically for fragments it doesn't matter whether you're on Chaos 10, Chaos 2, Chaos 1. All you need to do for fragments is, I'm gonna show you in a moment, one of the best spots to farm fragments is the circular arenas, where you can just go in and wait for the enemies to die by themselves from your auras. If you want to farm blessing fragments, all you need to do is that. And picking up, of course, orbs, bloodlust orbs. I'm gonna show you in a moment after I go to the town. So there are specific invasion nodes that are perfect for farming fragments, because you've got a bunch of enemies charging in at you on different waves, and all you need to do is just pick up orbs. And builds like this one, or the Bragi Grimnir build, or the Elessa Poison build, or a Conrad with the Sigmar Flames. Basically the nodes are, one of them is, where is it? Swarm. So one of the nodes, I'm gonna go to lower difficulty to rank 19 where everything is unlocked. This is one node, Swarm. This is the other one, Horde. This is another one, Horde. So the first three you can farm are those. Then you can move on to this one, Swarm. This one, Horde, and there was another one, I'm not sure, maybe it was this one, the Champion. What about the Trios? What was the Trios? I think this one was one of those nodes. But this one was the one that I wouldn't suggest because there's the stunning meteors. So I would suggest sticking to the ones on the left and right. The Nurgle Swarm seems like the best one to do. So you go to the invasion rank and just select this one. And all you need to do is pick up the orbs that drop. So basically they're dying and all you need to do is make sure you're picking up the orbs, and as soon as you get this one filled, use it. So you can have as many uses of that Bloodlust mode as you can before it's over. So I'm using it now. And while I use it, I can still pick up orbs to prolong the duration. But when I see it's close to running out, I'm gonna stop picking up orbs and then save those to refill my next one. Like now, if there was some orbs, I wouldn't have picked them up when this one was close to ending. You can see I can just walk and they're dying by themselves without me doing much. I can also teleport if I want to move quicker. And you know, when you use this, they drop those fragments more often. So pay attention to my fragments. 1026 here. Let's do another run on the other side, on this side with the Corn Horde. So from 1026, I think I'm probably gonna get like 200. Let's see if I can get 200. Which might not seem too much considering how many I've got, but to a new player that's still a nice number. And it doesn't matter whether it's high or low level, high or low rank invasion. Of course, if you want to speed things up, you can still do some damage. I mean, no one's telling you not to do damage. See, now I'm using that, activating it. I'm already at 1036, so I haven't picked up many red, but I've been picking up a lot of the other ones. Sometimes you get a lot more of one type, sometimes a lot more of another type. I've had cases where I would be able to pop this special off 3 times. I missed my cue to pop it off earlier, so I'm only popping it off 2 times. But you can see they're dropping many fragments while I'm under the duration of this Bloodlust mode. So, okay, I didn't get that many. That's very disappointing. Let's pay attention again. This is 501, 801. I'm gonna try again. 501, 801. Let's see if I can get 100. But 50 is still a lot when you know that you're getting that for just a few seconds of fighting. And if you keep farming this, keep grinding this, there's a lot of fragments to be earned. Oh, by the way, I'm missing something very important. If you're farming fragments, you should definitely equip this one for 20% extra fragments and this one for 5, which when you combine those together, that's 25% extra fragments. So when doing this, strongly suggested to remove this wood quality buff that I'm using on the build. Yeah, I forget to. And by the way, if you want to speed things up, just stay in one place, spam those. But I've had cases where I would pop this off 3 times before the wave is over. But that's probably cases where I wouldn't be picking up many to prolong the duration, and I would just... I guess it doesn't matter whether you pick them up to prolong the duration or whether you pick them up afterwards to activate it again. It depends what would be better. So now I was getting a lot of blue ones and yellow ones. So here I got 91 of those. Here I got only 68 of those. But still, that was just for like a minute and a half or whatever. So pretty fast method of obtaining those resources. Good to know for a new player. And you can do that in rank 10 if you want. You don't have to do it on the highest rank that's available. And you can even do those are the same. Let me quickly show you. Those are the same. Of course, this is Act 3 enemies, but it's still the same principle. The same map, same arena. They're just enemies coming in waves. I think those are a bit shorter waves, so that's why I like doing the other ones. I missed an orb. It disappeared right before I picked it up. And that's why I like those AoE aura builds for that mode, for farming those things. So this time I didn't get that many. Definitely better to do the other ones, the ones on the left and right that are like chaos, what, 4, 3? What chaos are they considered? This is considered chaos 3. Compared to this that's considered normal. Not sure the drops are affected by the difficulty. The only thing that's affected by the difficulty is just, I think, how many enemies would appear on that wave, I guess. And they're definitely dying faster here because they have less HP. But yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's rank 28 or not. Let's do a little bit of engineer. I'm just loving the engineer. Such a great new class. What build am I playing right now? Is it my classic build? Yeah, it is my classic build. Engineer of War, Engineer of War. Wait, oh yeah, Move Mountains, Engineer of War. That's the setup. And here 35, 20. Okay. 25%. First difficulty check. Chaos 9. Let's see what we've got here. Swanish. Skill cooldowns increased. Okay, I can try again. Enemies exploding on death. This is just FPS. It's eating up the FPS. Let's see if we get a Scorpion or a Sphinx. I'm a big fan of the Sphinx boss. It's a bit easier than the Scorpion. But on this map it should be a Scorpion. I've never seen not a Scorpion boss on this map. Oh, I should keep spamming turrets. I keep forgetting. Even on the melee build I wanna be spamming the turrets, so I can get that crit going on. And the damage reduction when I'm next to the turret and I use a melee attack. So this is a melee build on the engineer. It has turrets, but the turrets are not the main damage dealer, but they're definitely adding up to the damage, especially on bosses where you might find yourself kiting a bit more to wait out a boss attack that they're charging. And that's not the most OP melee build. I've experimented with another melee build that one of my viewers suggested, where we're focusing on using excavation, but we're using a passive, which I'm not using right now, I think. Yeah, we're using this passive, where is it? Mechanical hits, which does something that's super overpowered. The overpowered thing is adds extra fire damage based on overheating level to your melee attacks. And this extra fire damage combined with health drain on items with excavation is just immense amount of HP drained. So much HP drained that not many things can kill you. Only something that can one-shot you would be able to kill you. Because you're regenerating so much HP that in the end, if they're not one-shotting you, you're healing within a second of taking the damage. Maybe half a second and you're already full HP. OP. I don't like playing it that much because really it's kind of boring playing that OP of a build. That's why I prefer playing this a little bit more balanced, yet still fun melee setup. Of course there's a lot of things on Kiwa that they need to fix. First of all, the invasion with Kiwa. We still don't have invasion rings on Kiwa. That's why I stopped playing her invasion levels. I was disappointed to find out that you cannot get invasion rings on her because they are not added into the game. Not sure whether it's intentional because they weren't ready or whether it was a bug. Another thing that's bugged and I can't wait for it to get fixed is this thing called Forge Heart. Where is it? Actually it's Forge Butt. Forge Heart is hammer. So Forge Butt is supposed to give you up to 100 stacks of 3% damage for a total of 300% damage when you damage an enemy with fire damage. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Unless they fixed it. Let's try it. I mean, it doesn't hurt to try it. I'm doing fire damage now. Is this doing fire damage? This is also doing fire damage. I'm not seeing stacks of the pistol. Yep. Still no forge, but well, I'm gonna be waiting for the day when this is gonna get fixed because this is the best pistol for many builds. Right now, my second best choice is, as you saw, I was using a corroder. I do have a green one, but it's not as good as the red one I'm using, by the way. You can see the difference. So what's missing, you might ask? Oh, actually that's a new one I got. Maybe that one's actually worth using. But you can see the cooldown reduction is more on the green. The crit chance is missing. And the crit chance, my crit chance is very bad as it is. I can't afford to be using that one when I really rely on having crits. This doesn't have crit chance, this doesn't have much crit chance, but at least it does have some. So those are the two things that give me crit chance. This one gives me crit chance, and And that's about it. I could get some more from here. And if this was a green weapon, it could have given me 15-16% instead of the 12. If this was a green item, instead of the 6.1, it could have given me 9 point something crit chance. But I really want that base for the damage reduction. And by the way, this is reducing my damage by 40%, yet I'm still doing okay. Still doing okay. And I'm keeping that again for the cooldown reduction and crit chance combo. And this one again keeping it for the cooldown reduction and crit chance combo. And the damage reduction is not bad, but yeah. So I don't have anywhere near the best gear I might want. And the other pistol, as I said, is this one. This makes enemies take 200% extra damage while they are in this circle. This circle here. You can see that moving on the screen. It's a bit difficult to see it on this map because it's so orange, but you can see this circle moving around me. So while the enemy is inside there, they're taking 200% more damage. But I would be doing 300% more damage with the other pistol if I keep my stacks up, and I will, if it was working well. Still a fun setup. It has the AoE, it has some mobility, it has some utility. And as I said, with this character, without even completing a full red set, when I leveled her up, I could do Chaos 6. Chaos 6 without even a set completed. All red gear, freshly created character, not a single green. I was able to do it. So this is how strong this character is. Right off the bat. Of course, she's not too OP. It's just she's strong right off the bat without even completing a set to get a set bonus. So this set, for example, gives me this bonus. Up to 50 stacks of 5 damage. And up to 50 stacks of 0.5 damage. So 25% damage reduction. And what's that? 250 damage for melee attacks. So when using those melee attacks. So even without this, you're gonna be okay with this character to jumpstart your farming on Chaos 6 as long as you have full red items. It doesn't have to be a set completed. Although of course if you do have a set completed, I strongly advise playing the set, whichever it is. Because with the full completed set you can even push to Chaos 7, 8 with just red items, maybe even Chaos 9 with just red items if you wanna take it slowly. But I'd suggest go for time rather than difficulty. More maps completed per hour means definitely more chances to get better items. Even if it's like 300 wood quality less. 300 is not that big of a difference, so is 600, not that big of a difference. A big difference would be, for example, if you compare Chaos 5 to Chaos 9 or Chaos 6 to Chaos 9. Then it definitely starts getting noticeably lower. For green items you need over 3.2 thousand wood quality. Anything after that is just extra bonus. You see, we kind of face tanked this guy. And one thing that you need to know is turrets cannot give you life drain. You cannot drain the HP of your enemies and heal yourself with turrets. But you can do it with all your other skills that do direct damage. So mines also don't do that. It would have been probably too overpowered if turrets drained life, but it would have been also nice. I would have had a lot of fun if my turrets could drain life, the same way my melee skills can. Alright, now we're gonna move to the turret build. If anyone wants to see what the turret build feels like. Quickly removing items that I want to transfer to the turret build. Was that turret? Battle Architect? I think that was it, yeah. So actually this didn't need to get removed because we're using a different hammer, but it's the same pistol still. Checking the god skills. Oh, that's not the right god skills. That's definitely not the right god skills. I've been experimenting here. I've been showing my viewers some stuff. This is the most damage build you can get. 410% crit damage, 38% damage. So this is the most glass cannon setup you can do. And it's on the turret build, so let's show you. Let's show you. First of all, I've got a lot of stuff that's not activated here. I need 20% and then damage reduction. There we go. Forges, alright. Cooldowns have a chance to increase. Not a great map mod for a turret build to play. You don't want your cooldowns increased when your main damaging skill is a cooldown skill, but let's do it. So yeah, that's not my main turret build. That's not the turret build from my channel, from my YouTube channel. And since my cooldowns can increase, it's not gonna be as good as one might want. I can have up to 5 turrets with this build. Okay, this healer is a bit annoying. Come on, die already. Wow, he soaked up so much damage. What's my passives? Just wanted to see if I'm using the correct passive at least. Yeah, I'm using the correct turret passives. But that's not the correct god skill. So the normal god skills I use are the same I was using on my melee build. I use the same ones for the turret build. In fact, for any build, because I just like those two active god skills a lot. Move, Mountain and Engineer of War. They're just amazing. So for the turret skill it's kind of like don't get hit and spawn turrets. That's the basic of it. Don't get hit, spawn turrets, and you don't get healed when the turrets do damage. So if you want to get healed, you have to do some damage yourself. Just want to check something. Do I have mechanical hits? Alright, so this has been a mechanical hits version of the build. Basically this has been a version using that OP invincible kind of build. So you're gonna see now me being invincible. If I do this, unless something one-shots me, I should be able to survive anything. So unless I get one shot by something, we should live. Kind of face tanking. I didn't realize that's the type of build this was. Of course, I can only survive if there's an enemy next to me, and I'm using this chainsaw or whatever it's called, this excavation skill. Just look at the life steal. Look at the health drain. My HP is not going down. Alright, let's keep moving. There's also a lot of damage you can get from here, from Morgrim Smite. And if you have Morgrim Smite, you're losing HP, but if you keep using this melee skill, as I said, you keep getting HP, as long as there's someone you're attacking with that attack. But you still want to be using the turrets all the time to keep that duelist chain reaction at 400% crit damage bonus. And duelist chain reaction, you definitely want to get that as soon as you can from invasions. I think that's the first thing you should try and get from invasions when it comes to invasion rewards. Duelist chain reaction, if you have enough crit chance and you are planning on going for a crit build, you would need that 400 crit damage. So I can start actually playing it with the melee skill too. I don't have to just spam my turrets. I've got another melee skill. I don't have to spam my healing. I can just use the healing when I need it on the excavation, and I can still play that hammer time smashy smash skill. Right, I think I took the wrong turn here. Right, there's a healer I need to kill first. How quickly we melted the healer, but he still popped the healing field, which ended up healing the other enemy even though the healer was already killed. The time, almost 10 PM. Got some more time, I can probably do another hour of streaming. If anyone wants to see some of the other characters, do let me know. I don't feel like playing Conrad, unfortunately, but if someone really wants to see it, I could. Oh yeah. See, this is the cases where I would die. When I stop healing, and I did stop healing for a moment with excavation, and then I got one shot. But let's kill the healer first, and then hopefully I don't get one shot. I'm gonna get one shot. I need to build my damage reduction, that's the problem right now. If I don't build my damage reduction, I'm not gonna get... I'm not gonna be able to survive the one-shots of the Minotaur. But I could just try and build the damage reduction. I just need to get hit 100 times without dying. So damage over time and things like this are very great for that. I'm just gonna play it a bit safe, less face tanking, more kiting. It's a turret build after all. I could take advantage of the ranged attacks of the turrets. Right, now I can start tanking. I got 35 stacks. It's not 100 stacks, but it's still better than nothing. I'm gonna lose the stacks. Come on, someone hit me. Can I face tank this guy now? I'm not even stopping to cast a turret. Just face tanking. I'm gonna stay in this poison field to build my stacks. Come on, turrets, there we go. This is perfect for building stacks. And we melted the boss, as you can see. So this is the glass cannon build, which can still face tank stuff. It can still face tank stuff, but you can see how easily it can melt stuff if you focus it. If somehow all the turrets are attacking the same target, they're not focusing different targets. It's not as fun for me to play as my regular turret build. So the regular turret build would basically be slightly different. It's gonna be what I've got on my channel, on my YouTube channel. It would be using those god skills, the god skills of my melee build. Basically having move mountains and either this cooldown reduction or this cooldown reduction. It doesn't really matter. It's exactly the same. And then stopping here for that crit damage, stopping here for that crit damage, and getting Engineer of War. So it should be 260 crit damage, 20 damage, 5 cooldown reduction instead of 38, 410 and 0 cooldown. Then there's other builds like this one, the explosive, the mortar build. Pretty different build and not as good as the turret or the melee. I'm gonna go back to Bragi now. I'm gonna go back to Bragi because I feel like playing him. Just wanna see how far I can push it with him in the counter-attack damage. Farming new items with counter-attack damage. That's better than my old ones. And I just need 1 minute to go to the kitchen to grab my water, because right before my stream started I poured myself a glass of water, but I forgot to bring it to this room and I'm starting to get thirsty, so just give me a minute. I'm coming. I'm still here, I can still talk because I've got my headset wireless, but let's see. There we go. Okay. So yeah, let's go with Bragi now. What was I playing on Bragi last time? Is that the challenge set? It's the challenge set, okay. Alright, I'm back. Had to mute myself for a moment. I had to mute myself. Alright, what do I wanna do? First legendary rank, 6 points, okay. Okay. Let's just do some relic hunts. Or do I wanna do some invasions? Perfect. Heroes Constantly Bleed is actually now one of my favorite modifiers. Heroes Constantly Bleed is what I wanted to show you. The Forge Heart bug. Let's see if we can get that Forge Heart bug. Another reason why I love Heroes Constantly Bleed is padded armor never goes down. Padded armor is always at 100 stacks. Because each bleeding stack, see, each time it ticks, it's building up a stack. That means you're never not gonna be taking damage. You're constantly taking damage, so there's no cooldown or cool off period for that. So you're always gonna have those 40% damage reduction on a Heroes Constantly Bleed map. So now I'm using the Forge Heart and I'm gonna see if I can one-shot myself. If the boss is the boss with the fire fields. Or if an enemy does fire fields, I'm gonna try and... see, that's it. That's exactly it. See, it's one shot out of nowhere. One shot out of nowhere, and this is what I'm talking about. It's still not been fixed. Basically what's happening is I'm triggering this skill. If a fire skill deals damage to a bleeding enemy, bleeding is removed but the enemy takes extra heavy damage. And I'm actually, since I'm bleeding, and I'm getting damaged by fire damage from some sort of enemy that casts a fire burning skill or whatever, and this is triggering for me, and this shouldn't be the case, but bugs. You saw it just dank out of nowhere, so I can confirm avoid using this axe, it's still not fixed. It's a great axe, it can do a lot of damage, but Grudge Holder is by far better axe anyways. So Eternal, what's it called? Not Eternal, Ultimate Carnage and Grudge Holder. Those two axes instead of Forge Heart and Ultimate Carnage, as I did suggest back then in my build video in December. I could probably make a build video Crit Monster 2.0 where I'm mentioning all that. I didn't feel like making a new build video when there's like just 10% changes, but I think it's needed. I think it's needed because I've been seeing a lot of new people coming into the game, so I might take some time tomorrow and make a new build video for that. I wish I had better items just to show people, not better but new items with more counterattack damage. But even with the current items I can still mention that that's not the best you can get, that's not as much counterattack damage you could get, and those items have been farmed before the changes, before they added extra 60% to the counterattack you can get on an item. I'm not sure if it's 60% exactly, but it's around there. It's a lot. Some things are actually even more, some things are actually double. It depends on the item. Rings are getting double the counterattack damage, where weapons are getting kind of like from 1000 to 1600 on axes, and from I need to check for two-handed weapons on another character, but I think it was to 3000, no, actually it goes to 2000 something, up to 3000. On Q I know I've got a hammer with 3150, so let's say it can get to 3.2 thousand counterattack damage on a two-handed weapon. On a weapon, like some classes only can have counterattack damage on one item, whereas Bragi can have counterattack damage on both. So, for example, Conrad has shield and sword. One of them can get crit chance, the other one can get crit damage. One of them can get counterattack, the other can't. Whereas with Bragi, both axes can get crit chance, but not as much as the other classes. So the other classes can get like 16 crit chance with on one item. Bragi can get like up to 8 on two items, 8 each. So that's kind of how they rebalanced Bragi, being able to use the exact same item for dual wielding. So he's the only one like that, that doesn't have separate offhand from the main head and dual wielding the exact same type. Oh, and since I've got full bloodlust, I'm gonna farm some fragments. Let's do some spinning. Shit, it's gonna end. Give me some enemies. Squishy, squishy. Well, it was good while it lasted. Let's pick up the fragments. I wish the spin to win was the first stage of Bragi, not the second. It would have been so much better if they made that be the first stage. Maybe nerf the damage a little bit if they think it's too OP. And then what's currently on the first stage goes on the second stage. Which I'm gonna show you what's the first stage, so if someone's wondering what's he talking about. The first stage is basically throwing some axes in a cone. Definitely not as great for farming shit, for farming fragments. Wait to fill it up. The boss is right around the corner. That's why I want to kill the boss before I show you this. So this is it. So this is the first stage, and I'd say boost the damage of this, but make it stage 2. So you need 2 orbs to get this, and then make the spin to win version stage 1, and maybe with less damage, so it's a bit balanced. It's gonna be so convenient if they do it like that. Alright, come on, die, die, die. And almost done. There we go. Let's put this guy here and kill him with the others. Where is he coming? Wait, did he die? There was supposed to be some sort of elite left over. Okay, let's just go back. I'm gonna do a little bit of invasion now. And for invasions, I switch to easy mode gear with a lot of crit chance wood quality. You can see this build is focusing on stacking crit chance, and as a result getting extra wood quality, 776 per, which 776 is added on top of the wood quality from the invasion, and the wood quality from the chaos rank. And this is where I get a lot of the green gear I've got from high rank invasions. This is rank 46. Just check 7.3 thousand LQ. I'm gonna use LQ because it just yeah, faster as an abbreviation. And I use this build because with this build things are just, look at that, green stuff, greeny green, and it's the challenge set, the one I use for pushing stuff. So right now you're probably wondering why the hell is this idiot using shit items like Old Ring of Shadows. The only reason why I'm using this shitty ring, it's not because of the stupid dodge chance, which really is barely anything, it's because it gives me 9.7% crit chance and cooldown reduction. And this is 8.4 crit chance and cooldown reduction. And I don't have better options for rings that give me that much crit chance and cooldown reduction. And as I said, I'm stacking as much crit chance, as you can see, as I can get. The only things that don't give me crit chance probably are this thing, because I need a little bit of counterattack damage after all. And this one, because I need a little bit of flat damage. But I'm stacking a lot of crit chance. This is crit chance, this is crit chance. This is crit chance, this, and I actually have more crit chance items. Let's show you that I use. So I can replace this one with that one. Or is it that one I'm looking after? No, actually this is the new one. Look at that, 1596 counter attack damage. The old helmets could go up to like 700. This one 1500. That's why I say I need to farm everything all over again, because they didn't convert the old items to the new counterattack values. See this one, old item 660 counterattack damage, new item 1359. So you can see almost double. So this can go up to 700 something, this can go up to 1300, maybe 1400 if you're lucky. So I'm looking at Grimnir with crit chance. Let's go all in on my farming set. I always keep a full crit chance set for those purposes when I'm farming items with this item. This item basically, it used to go up to 600 wood quality, which would which now only goes up to 500 wood quality. 80% is the maximum crit chance, and on 80 crit chance you used to get 600 wood quality. Now with this item they change it and it's up to 500, but there's a chance to reduce what's that? Chance to summon a champion with valuable wood, which is also nice. So crit chance and Grimnir Gauntlet. I don't think I've got better one, but this is crit chance anyways. So the only non-crit chance item right now is my Grimnir boots. And I did find new ones, I just haven't blessed them, right? This one, 1462. And it's the perfect time to do it. Let's bless. Oh no, that's not it. And that's it. Of course, when you're going for crit chance, you're sacrificing so much HP, and you're sacrificing flat damage, some flat damage. You're sacrificing counterattack damage, but more crit chance, more wood quality, and you can see this is almost 7.5 thousand now. And I can just run and they're dying. They're dying by going inside the trails, the fire trails I'm leaving. Even when they're next to me, they're taking, you can see, few million damage just from the fire AoE aura. 8 million just from that. That's why I use this set for this specific purpose. Of course, I couldn't do that by myself. I couldn't reach this high rank 46 by myself. I think around rank 30 something I needed help from someone else. Because there are some maps that are just counter to this build. For invasions again, I actually strongly recommend, instead of using Code to Out Heroic, which is super nice, I strongly recommend using that one if you're struggling with pushing invasions. Now for the farming purposes, I probably could use Code Out, but let's show you what I mean. This one gives you health regeneration. I've got 11.3% health regeneration with this skill. Let's have this skill end and see how much my health regeneration is without it. 4.3. So I'm getting, what is that? 7% health regeneration. And keep in mind, right now on this map, I'm losing 4% HP per second. And I'm still losing HP per second even though I've got 4% HP regeneration. But if I use my number 2, I'm actually not losing HP. It's staying up. And that's the skill that you don't need to do anything to include in the build, because it's on the way. It's on the way for fighting spirit. So it's already taken, you don't need to shift your god skills. The only thing you're sacrificing is Call to Oath. You can sacrifice Avenging Charge, but I strongly suggest against that. You can sacrifice Wasp Bastion, again I suggest against that. I think the best thing to sacrifice is Call to Oath. And of course, if you're pushing hard invasions, you're not going to be using this set, you're going to be using this one. And you're not sacrificing a heroic version of the skill, you're sacrificing a superior version of the skill. And a superior version of the skill is, or a master, depending what your build is using. So you can see heroic one is amazing because it gives you 100% damage. It gives you 100% crit damage and 20% movement speed. Whereas this one is 20% damage, 20 movement speed. This one is 20% damage, 20 crit damage. But crit damage, you can get so much crit damage from fighting spirit anyways. So you don't really care much if you're losing when farming, if you're losing that 100 crit damage that much. Especially if you're farming on a crit set, your main priority is the LQ, having more LQ for better drops. It's not the damage, because you're not gonna be using this farming setup on something that you're having difficulties pushing. Let me quickly sell some junk. I'm gonna do a few more maps and gonna call it. It's 10:21, so maybe 40 more minutes until 11 in the evening. In the meantime, I don't need this grudge holder. That's actually pretty nice grudge holder for a red one. The only thing I would change is, instead of the maximum energy, cooldown reduction. Impatient one. I think I've got a better already. Oh, and another thing I use impatient one for farming, because cooldowns. Because I can just spam. In lower level difficulties, I know I don't really need the ultimate carnage or a grudge holder or a forge heart. Impatient one for farming easy stuff is amazing. Let me see if that one's better. No, it isn't. How's my warehouse? 42 out of 100. I had this 100 out of 100 and I emptied it. I gave some viewers a lot of items. I'm gonna do a little bit more invasions. Hopefully I can get some green stuff. I know it's super boring seeing me do this easy content, and yeah. But that's how you do. You work for it. You have to work to be able to farm easy content and still get good rewards. Before you reach such a high invasion rank, you're gonna be struggling at some point. Some maps are completely BS. The map modifiers, where you're losing permanently armor until eventually you get one shot by every hit you take. There's also maps where you're bleeding for so much that you're like taking 150,000 damage just from bleeding if you don't have a lot of damage reduction. Ridiculous maps, map mods. I definitely think they need to rework the invasions from scratch when it comes to the map mods, and when it comes to the ability to increase the difficulty. Not decrease it, but increase it. So let's say this map is Chaos 2. Let's say I can't go lower than Chaos 2, but I can make it Chaos 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 if I want to, which would in turn increase the LQ of the map, the drop chance, but increase the difficulty as well. So if I feel bored doing those easy maps on my way to unlocking the next invasion rank, give players the ability to make them more difficult. Keep the minimum difficulty always the way it should be, so that people can't just cheese it. But give players the ability to challenge themselves. If they're bored of doing the exact same maps at super easy difficulties and they want a bit of a challenge on their way to repeating the same shit over and over and over again, and it can get super grindy, believe me. Basically you have to complete this 100%, so you have to do every single node once for 10, then you have to do it for 19, then you have to do it for 28, then for 37, and now I'm doing it for 46. So on this character I've already done 4 times every single note, every single piece on this map. And that's not my only character that I'm doing invasions. And some of them are at rank 19, others are at rank 28, others are at 37, this one is at 46. So that's a lot of grinding the same shit over and over again. And let's say 70% of those maps are bullshit super easy stuff like this one, where you're just basically breezing through the map. That's all you're doing. I can just walk like this and people and mobs would die without me doing anything. I can of course always heal myself a bit, because it's needed. So I can just do that and they're dying. Even though they're getting healed, I can still stay next to the healer and eventually they're gonna die. So this is why I mean it's bullshit boring stuff that people should be able to pick an option to increase the difficulty of this. And I think many people would agree with me on that one. If someone wants to breeze through it and do it quickly, of course let them do it with the minimum difficulty, but I'd rather farm those invasion nodes and pick different ranks, different chaos difficulties. Jump. Fuck, didn't jump where I wanted it to. Here's a neat little trick. Oh, green. That was very nice timing. I say here's a neat little trick and then boom, green. Let's see the greeny green. Ritual Crest of Grimnir, alright. It's not better. I mean, the 1.4 cooldown reduction definitely is tempting, but I'm losing a lot of counterattack damage. Oh, and did you see what I did? I need to go all the way up there, I think, for the boss. Or maybe no, maybe no. Maybe the boss is actually this way. Yeah, it's actually this way. I still did the wrong thing. I could have done this way, this way, this way, and this way, but I did all the way here. Unnecessary, but sometimes it's like that. Sometimes the maps can be a bit tricky, like a labyrinth. And by the way, you don't have to enter the portal. See, the portal is there. I'm just gonna check this chest, and then I'm gonna click. Oh, nice. See, this makes me wanna check the other chest if there is one here. And I can just click leave area, and that's fine. Once I'm done with the map, if it's telling me go to the portal, I can just leave the area, and it's still gonna count the map as completed, as you see. And yeah, if anyone wants to benefit from those greens and do rank 46 invasions with me, let me know. If you want help with your own invasions, I've got like half an hour. I could help you with some maps. Or if you want to do relic hunts, I can help you with that. Just gotta quickly do this and see. I'm gonna start keeping stuff for my viewers. So this new ritual Crest of Grimnir goes into the warehouse. Which one was it though? It was this one. Might as well check this one too. Actually, I think I'm keeping this one for my damage set. Oh, and I got some sort of a ring earlier, which I never checked. Ancestors. Oh, cooldown, crit chance. Why doesn't it have damage? But cooldown and crit chance. On an Ancestor's ring. Pretty amazing. It even has HP drain. Could I replace this one? 8.4, 4.9. 8.7, 4.9. Alright. We got a deal here. Might as well make this into my ring here, but I prefer using Fiery Ring of Tori and Ring of Resonance. Those are my two go-to rings for my build, for my pushing jumpy build. But everyone's free to improvise, especially if you don't have Ring of Resonance, and you won't have Ring of Resonance unless you start doing invasions. You're definitely gonna start using something else in its stead. And an Ancestor's ring is not a bad choice. Extra 25% HP goes very well with this build because that's extra 50% HP. See, and if you are stacking more HP and less damage, you can have a ton of HP here, like 500,000 even, especially if you're using that ring. If I was using that ring, instead of 300,000, I would be having what? 375? Let me test it. Let me test it. Where's that ring? Let's see. Actually, I'm losing some HP from the Fiery Ring of Tori. Where did it go? I think that's the one. So, I lost 3000 HP. That's roughly 12,000. Alright. Wait, what the fuck did I do? Alright. So I lost only 4,000. That's not much. So let's use this and see. 255,000. 349. And that's, mind you, without that much HP from my gear. I can get much more, because look at that. This axe can get another 29,000 HP. Instead of the damage over time, which I don't need. This can give HP. This can give HP. This can give HP. So 3 more items, 4 more items that can give you HP. And eventually with Bragi you can reach 50,000, 500,000 HP easy. With the right items. Alright, let's put this to good use. What are we gonna do? Let's get the corruption resistance. That's why I went there. I want the corruption resistance. I only want 30% corruption resistance, then I can try pushing for a ring. If I have troubles, I always get 60%, of course. But I wanna see if I can do it without that. Okay, let's keep moving. And we're good to go for the boss now. We heard that sound. Another neat little trick I want to show you. Fuck, it's not letting me. Alright, let's do it. This one. Euntir can teleport. Euntir can teleport with With his teleportation skill, Bragi can use the hook, but the other heroes cannot do that, to skip from one platform to the other. And this hook, I'm using it with spacebar. This is the archetype ability of the Slayer. Alright, nothing too fancy. Let's go to the next one. What's the time? 10:36. Alright. Few more maps left. Got that corruption. I'm gonna try and get the other corruption here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maps, and then start moving towards Rings of Resonance. I really want to get a new Ring of Resonance with the new what's it called? Counterattack stuff, with the new counterattack bonuses. I mean, they're not new, but they are newly improved. Hopefully out of those 9 rings I can get, there would be at least one good one. But sometimes it takes 20, 30, sometimes even 40 rings before you get the correct one from those invasion rings of resonance. It's RNG and there's no way to reroll, which, as I said, we desperately need a rerolling system like the one in Diablo 3 in this game. Sacrificing bullshit green items for materials and using the materials to reroll the stats on a current item. Once something like this exists, it's gonna make it so much more pleasant farming for shit that you don't need to get the shit you do need out of it. Alright, I think we're good to go to the boss. Oh fuck. Also, you can use those easy maps to farm fragments. Oh, alright, wasted my... Another thing they need to add is an option to cancel this. To cancel and stop this. Because right now, if you activate the Bloodlust mode, you have to keep going. There's no way to pause it and to continue it later. So let's say I've got 3 orbs. And let's say I use 1.5 of those orbs worth of Bloodlust. And there's no enemies. I wanna pause it and I wanna resume that later. To use the other 1.5 orbs. But yeah, on those easy runs, it's super nice to make sure when you have the Bloodlust to use it. Because you can see the enemies are just dying by me walking around them. Especially if I activate this fire breathing skill, what's its name? Blood of the Mountain. If I activate Blood of the Mountain right before activating the Bloodlust, I'm gonna have a few seconds of me breathing flames and getting those extra fragment drops like right now. Come on, die. Normally on those maps I stop when I kill the boss. Unless there is a chest, there is a possibility of a big chest. And normally there is a possibility of a big chest spawning here. Normally I would just leave map and just start the next one. To get into the tempo of speeding through it. Next one. And what's the time? Alright, we've got like 19 minutes more. Probably it's annoying me doing that countdown. Sorry if I'm being annoying with that. Should have just said that to myself instead of saying it to the stream. Let's see. Come on, die. There we go. Hoop. Boom. I think it's this way. Yeah. That'll be the way. Still opening some chests, cause with 7.4 LQ, every chest is actually a potential green item. Even the shitty chests that normally I would skip. Oh, big boy. Big boy chest. Horny chest, yes. Unfortunately, no drop. Okay. Few more maps. Not gonna get the rings obviously today, but at least I can probably get the other corruption resistance note. And by the way, I've tested Dota Underworlds today. One of my other viewers, who is actually one of the Chaosbane players since back in the summer when I was starting my Chaosbane journey. I keep noticing him playing Underworld, so I asked him yesterday whether it's worth testing, and I tested it. I actually tested it on my mobile because it's easier to see if it's worth playing. I watched some tutorial before testing it on PC. It's nothing too fancy. I mean, when it comes to turns and timing the turns when you're not playing against bots, not a big fan of that. Having to do quick decisions and having only a few seconds to decide which unit I wanna sell, which unit I wanna buy, whether I wanna sell, buy, or just save my money to get more income on the next turn. It's a fun game, but definitely nothing too fancy. But it's nice, it's nice. It's nice that they have different modes. So the guide I watched was back from 2019 and it was super old, and there's a lot of stuff that changed. I think the guy was playing against some mobs every 5 waves, and I didn't see when I played on standard mode, I didn't see this. But yeah, I think Underworlds is an okay game to enjoy, and definitely nothing pay to win related on it. And it's nice that it's cross-platform, PC, mobile, etc. console. But yeah, it's forcing me to think super quickly, and I don't like that. I need something more chill. It's nice that it's good PvP though. It's good PvP. It requires some strategy. It requires. It's not something that your average Joe can play, but it's definitely a game that's easy to learn, hard to master, so to say. Auto chess. I mean, auto chess games. They're nothing too fancy, but they can be fun. Not tested teamfight tactics, but I don't think I ever will. But Underworld seemed like a fun game. Kept me busy today, trying to learn what's what. But I don't think I'm gonna start playing that on PC or streaming it. I don't think I'm even gonna play it anymore. I'm gonna install it tomorrow maybe. I'm still looking for some interesting games for PC to play. It could be an idle clicker fucking game, for all I know, as long as it's something new for me. Of course, I would prefer something like this, or something like a JRPG game, or a dungeon crawler in its classic type. Like if you look, Infinite Stratus, I think was the last dungeon crawler I played, which was kind of Might and Magic. If you know Might and Magic, not Heroes of Might and Magic, but the other Might and Magic, where you have your party, and each party member you can see at the bottom, and then you're moving up, down, left, and every cell you move has a chance for an encounter. It's not always an encounter in this room, but there's a chance of encounter in this room, for example. This is your classical thing I would call a dungeon crawler. So those types of games I also do like. Of course, my favorite is probably hack and slash action RPG looters like this game. But I like JRPGs, I like dungeon crawlers in its classic sense. I like shooters as well, but I don't like BR shooters. If it's a BR, I'd rather be playing it. And thank you for the sub, Antan. Thank you for the sub. The type of BR games I would play would be something that's with maybe 20 people free for all, and it's third person, kind of like the old MOBA games in Warcraft 3, the old arenas, where you would have an X number of players in the map. They would be playing free for all, not team deathmatch, but deathmatch. That's the type of BR in brackets I would play. Because BR is basically deathmatch, just a fancy word of saying deathmatch. And I do enjoy third-person deathmatch games. I like deathmatch game shooters, but if it's small, like 16-20 people. Quake 3 Arena. Such a great game back in the day. Quake 2, Quake 3 Arena, Half-Life. Man, I enjoyed playing Half-Life so much. Fucking Crossfire. With the damn nuke. Fucking Crossfire with the damn nuke. Such a great level. Good old times. And when you take the alien bug gun, throwing bugs in people's faces. And there's a Black Desert BR, which it seemed fun, but definitely watching videos doesn't make me wanna play it. As an idea, as a concept, it seemed like something I really was excited about, but then I saw it and it doesn't seem exciting. There was another one, Hunter's Arena or whatever, that's kind of the same, like third-person fantasy BR type of game, free for all. It just doesn't seem right. It seems like it's too much of a BR and less of a MOBA arena. If it was done more like the good old MOBAs from the Warcraft 3 time, when we were playing Warcraft 3 maps, it would have been much more fun. A small map, not a huge map where it takes you fucking 10 minutes to find a living soul. Just a small map where you barely have any room to hide. Like the old deathmatch games, that would have been much better. Of course, it's good to have some room to hide, but imagine Quake and Unreal, the old Quake and Unreal games, something like this but with fantasy characters. And I can give you an example of a game from my past, two examples of games that were fantasy and deathmatch games. Drakan, if you look up Drakan, you're gonna see what I'm talking about, and Heretic. Those two games, man, me and my buddies used to go to net cafes because not everyone had PCs back then. And we used to play those games in net cafes so much. And Drakan was amazing because you could mount a dragon and fight on the dragon if you think you had to build up something, and it still had double damage runes like Quake as well. But you had sword fights, you had spells, you could mount a dragon as well. And of course, if someone takes the dragon, you know, it's gonna be hard to kill them. They don't make the games like they used to before, because the majority of the gamers just don't. They didn't grow up with such games. The people that now play games, and they make games for the consumers, not for the 10% of the minority or whatever it's called that don't play the commercial games that everyone plays. I'm sick of those BR games that everyone is popping out. I'm sick of all those pay-to-win bullshit MMOs, but that's what people play all over the world. That's why developers make those games. Back in the day, you could buy a game, and there's no DLCs. There's just gonna be an expansion that would improve on the story, adding new content, new characters and stuff. The good old premium model. Buy the game, wait a year, buy the expansion, wait another year, buy the next expansion, maybe wait 2 years before expansions depending on the game. Shit. Oh, do you know what I did? I just realized I've started a Chaos 9 map, a relic hunt with my farming build that's not for Chaos 9. And now I'm just realizing I did something. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to what I'm doing now. I don't think I can do this boss with this build. I mean, I can do it, but it's gonna take fucking forever. Just gotta play it safe. Hit and run, hit and run. Don't die, don't die. Fuck, fuck, run. Oh, phew. That was close. At least it's not the one that does the one-shot AoE. It's just a Jabber's White, not the other one. Forgot its name. Come on. Okay, maybe that's gonna be my last map. It's nice that at least I ended things with a Chaos 9 map. Something a bit more challenging, and it was a challenge playing on my farming crit chance build that's meant for farming easy stuff on that map. Right, let's not kill this Minotaur, let's just bail. So, thanks everyone who tuned in. I'm not sure what I'm gonna be playing tomorrow. It could be this, it could be Wolsen, it could be Last Epoch, because I haven't played Last Epoch in a while. Or it could be something completely different. I could maybe install again Paladins, play a little bit of Paladins, some shooty shoot time. We'll see. Keep it cool, folks. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, goodbye. And I'm gonna look into fixing my dropped frames issue with the network for tomorrow.